Woo! We're on. Let me mute my computer here real quick and see what's happening here. I want to make sure the stream's working okay. Commercials. It's showing commercials on my computer. Why is it showing commercials on my own stream? Whatever. So, hey Ron, Bobby, and Max. Got a full contingent on. Hey everybody, how are y'all doing? Welcome everybody to Megtooth Sith Live on Monday. And got some cool stuff. Hey Michael Dallin, just tuning in. We just came on. So, all good. So I just want to say hey to everybody, and really quick, I got some sabers to show off. I guess the first is going to be the ESB saber. This is a Graflex 2.5 in Empire Strikes Back configuration. You can see I got the Phillips head screws holding the grips on. It's got the KR printed coin on the rear end. I don't know if y'all can see that or not. This one's got a sloth furnace clamp card and the tinned tabs on the clamp card. This one has clamp card activation and auxiliary. Of course, it has the dual red buttons. I put just a standard, Graflex NeoPixel blade plug in there, which is illuminated. Of course, it has motion, gesture, activation, and retraction. I've also updated the slotted screws here, which is countersunk. There's some grippy stuff there, and slotted screw there as well. I want to show off the chassis really quick. Showed these on Megtooth Monday Live, but I want to go ahead and show them here too. So there is the chassis on this thing. You can see the crystal pulsing, and the chassis has things that it does when the saber's in idle. The crystal chamber pulses, and the NeoPixel accents in the stern do their thing.
Something inside me has always been there, but now it's awake.
Get to a different color blade.
Ray Skywalker.
Oh yeah, there's something different. You can see there it's gold now. And the crystal chamber didn't come on. Have to go check that code. Oh, pulsing power. Huh. Oh, my hand was touching a kill key. That didn't help.
Close your eye. Close your eyes. I'm from the Resistance. I'm the Jedi. Ray Skywalker.
I've been waiting for this. Be careful.
Yeah. Well. Looks like I'll be taking that one apart. So something is wrong with the red LED on the crystal chamber. So that's not working. Let's check Bobby's to make sure I'm not going crazy. Could be something on the config. Of course, these sabers aren't ready to send off yet. Y'all know I test them. But really quick, on the ESB saber. Yeah, bummer. The joys of doing a live video. So the ESB saber also has a, you can convert it to TFA by adding the brass eye on the TF, and it turns the ESB into a quasi TFA saber. So I got to take the chassis back apart and probably replace that that crystal chamber LED. Sometimes that happens. Hey, Melissa's World. Cool to see you on here. Yeah, these are 7/8. I can do 1-inch blades too, Ron, but all these are 7/8. Okay, everybody, cross your fingers.
Close your eyes.
This is
Feel it. The light.
this is Bobby's saber.
It's always
Young.
I'm the Jedi. Rey Skywalker.
Oh, there. That one's doing what it's supposed to do. There's your gold crystal chamber. You got the gold neopixel accents doing their thing. And when you activate, you know, you can see the crystal chamber pulses when the saber's in idle, but when you activate, of course, Bobby's got full shine through on the glass eye. Yeah, Melissa, Scarecrow has the blade. And let's get to,
Did you come back to say you
there's the
forgive
pulsing
me?
fire blade. That's what it's supposed to look like
To save my soul?
for crossguard. You like that sucker? There's the fire blade. That is awesome. You can see the fire blade in the glass eye, as well as the crystal chamber. And red neopixels in the accents there. Let's see what else we
Be
got.
careful not to choke on your aspirations, Director.
That's what I got doing for Vader's font.
Luke Skywalker.
There's a Luke Skywalker hero one. You can see that the accents spool up on that one.
Get him now.
Ah, didn't want to do that.
Balance.
If what you've told me is true,
Ha! Here's something funny I wanted to show everybody. Hey, Space Windu. Cool to see you. So this one is like the Christmas thing. Of course, you know it's got Christmas music. When you ignite the saber, you have a green crystal chamber, a red accents, and then the red and white striped blade. And then this is the battery meter, and I always put the Mandalorian to the battery meter. You can see it's blue, almost green, which means the battery's fully charged. So, you know, there's your saber, Bobby. The good news is I don't have to replace your crystal chamber, but I can see that I have a little bit of work to do on the inside of it still. So it's still not completely done, but it's awesome. So I'm going to put the TFA saber back together. I'll show y'all some of what I did to this TFA Graflex. This is a 2.0 Graflex that I've done a lot of accuracy upgrades to. So number one, like y'all saw, he's got the full shine through glass eye, brass eye, turned it down. You've got recessed flathead screw there, and also on the clamp here. This got the TFA clamp card by Sloth Furnace. This one has red button activation, but it also has clamp card activation and auxiliary. Has both. And this one, of course, I used hollowed out rivets to hold on the grips, and this one has the blank pommel stop on the end, and of course hollowed out rivets. Hold on to D-ring. I'll show you that shine through glass eye. There's the full shine through glass eye. So this is Bobby Susanbach saber, building a blade for this tonight. I'll be building two 7/8 inch NeoPixel blades tonight for these sabers. It looks like I'm doing a repair job on the inside of the ESB Graflex. Looks like my NeoPixel or my crystal chamber common anode LED went foobar. You guys saw it live. That's some of the joys of saber building is there's no way I'm sending out a saber that's not working. Yeah, Melissa, I did send Scarecrow your lightsaber blade probably about a month ago or so. Yeah, Space Windu knows the joys of installing lightsabers. You know, I thought I was done with that. Here I go live with it. It was working before I went live. I go live, and on my Facebook Live video, it was working just fine. But I go live on YouTube, and it's not. So I've obviously lost my red diode on my common anode RGB LED that I use to illuminate the crystal chamber, which I've done previous live videos about why I use common anode RGB LEDs. Oh yeah, he's definitely got the blade, Melissa. I put up the video about your blade build, which of course you know, you saw it. Everybody that doesn't know on here, Melissa's World, who's commenting, she's actually going to be the recipient of our TRA charity saber build that's currently going on. And if you go to Scarecrow's workshop on the TRA, you can actually see that build progress. It's a custom saber kind of related to Kanan Jarrus, which I'm not going to say why Kanan Jarrus is important to Melissa. I'll let her air that out, and I'm sure she doesn't mind sharing. She has her own YouTube channel where she shares about her. Yep, she's legally blind. There you go. But we're actually building a lightsaber for Melissa, and I built a blade for it. It's pretty cool. Oh, we'll see you later. And I can't read that name because it's Japanese, right, Max? I can't read that name, but we'll see you later. You know, I'm on every Monday. I got a little boo-boo here on my lip. It was bleeding like I was bleeding like a stuck pig earlier. Went to go greet a neighbor dog, and his claw came up and caught me in the face, and I bled everywhere. It is what it is. Yep. You're absolutely right, Melissa. So, you know, we built a blade for Melissa's saber, and it came out really awesome. I was really proud of it. And I hope that Melissa likes. Oh no, that's what happens, Space. So my neighbors have this Doberman Pinscher puppy, and her name is Frankie. And every day she comes out to greet me at the fence, and I go, and she puts her front paws on top of the fence and, you know, wants to kiss me. She's really nice. But yeah, her paw came up over the fence and got me in the lip and cut my lip open right as Jenneru was going to pick up Ella. Ella's been in Ohio. Oh, thanks, Smooth Jazz family. Ella's been in Ohio. We'll see you later, Michael Dallin. You got to see my faux pas live where the saber didn't work, but you know, what are you going to do? Oh yeah, it's definitely sick, Melissa. That blade can do a lot of stuff. It's a cool blade. My hockey team's multi-texting me now. It's crazy. But, you know, the joys of saber building. You know, you build a saber, you think you're done with it. Now I got to tear it open and replace the common anode RGB LED. I'm not sure what went amok there, but it is what it is. No, it's not brighter than NeoPixel. The reason that I do that, Mike, is if you use, and you can use a NeoPixel to illuminate your crystal chambers. In fact, you know, my favorite Graflex build of all time. Oop, my lightsaber blade just fell down and hit my Weimaraner. Poor Risky got whacked by my lightsaber blade that fell over. You're okay, Risky. I have used NeoPixels to light crystal chambers, and there's no problem with that. But to get that smooth pulse, let me show you. And I don't have my other saber. You know, I wish I'd brought in my other Graflex to show the difference. But you cannot get a smooth pulse out of a NeoPixel. A NeoPixel, because of the timing of NeoPixels, they won't pulse well. So let me show you what an RGB... I got to advance to the next font. Y'all stand by. And I have to slide the clamp forward when the back of the hilt's off.
Graflex
There we go.
TFA HD.
So you see that pulsing on and off? See how it pulses on really nice and smooth and pulses off really smooth? NeoPixels don't do that. So when you're trying to do that with NeoPixels, what happens is you get this really clicky. You know what? I do have a saber that I can show that to y'all on. Stand by. But see how smooth that pulse is? That's nice and smooth. You can only get that with an LED. You cannot get that with NeoPixels. With NeoPixels, it's clicky. Stand by, and I'll show you the NeoPixels. Because I think I have a saber here that's got NeoPixels in it that are programmed to pulse. I got to get my... Need some tools. Cole Weathers is on. All right, let me get to a preset that has a pulse.
I am King. The Force is...
Vader's assassin.
This is General Kenobi.
Commands. Vader's assassin.
Anything else?
Vengeance.
I'll show you.
I need some.
The Force is...
Vader's assassin.
Hello there.
Commands. Have you ever Vader's assassin.
Did you come back to say you forgive me? To save my soul?
This isn't really showing it well, but you can kind of see the the clickiness in there. I don't know if it's going to show up that good in this one. It's not really showing up that good on camera. I've obviously, and this is one of Dimitri's hilt adapters. I think I deprogrammed the
Vengeance.
Yeah, I did, because there you can see they're not clicking, but if I ignite the saber, they light up. But the problem with NeoPixels, like if you use NeoPixels on a crystal chamber, they'll light the chamber just fine, but if you want a pulsing chamber LED, they go click, 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 click. It's not smooth. They click on and off, and it just has to do with the timing of NeoPixels. So that's why that's like that. Well, yeah, I'm excited. So these are my last two sabers. I'm trying to catch up on comments, guys. I got my computer right down here. No, I got the fonts, Bobby. A legally blind sabersmith. Melissa, nothing is impossible. It could be done, probably. Yeah, but that's why I don't use NeoPixels in a crystal chamber. Somebody asked that. And I've done, a couple of my Megtooth Monday lives are about how I use the RGB common anode LEDs. Oh yeah, it's not you, Mike. All NeoPixels are prone to that. If you try to get it to pulse, it'll sit there and be really clicky like this. It clicks on and off. It's not really smooth. Whereas when you use a common anode RGB LED, it'll pulse on and off real nice and smooth. And the cool thing about Profi, and I don't know if y'all saw that, I guess I'll whip Bobby's saber back out here again. But the cool thing about Profi, no, the blades don't do it, Melissa. It's only when you're fading them on and off over a long period of time. But the blades don't do that. It's when you're using it to illuminate a crystal chamber. So
Graflex TFA HD.
there you can see the RGB doing the blue blade, which is cool.
Kylo failed you.
Light blue.
I won't. I'm all the Jedi. Rey Skywalker.
Yellow.
Anything else?
All right, so here's a fire blade, and y'all know the fire blade is crazy. So this is a pulsing, like unstable crystal. It's pulsing unstable crystal, and when you activate, you actually get the fire blade in there. I don't know how well that's going to turn out, but that's an RGB LED that's doing NeoPixel-like animations. And Profi can do that. So basically what I do is when I wire those RGB LEDs, I wire them to 4, 5, and 6. Did you do something with the timing, Fernando, to get the NeoPixels to be smoother on their pulses? I haven't tried any of your styles. The reason that I went away from NeoPixels on crystal chambers is I never could get them as smooth as I liked them. Unlike a lot of guys in the saber community, I did build lightsabers before NeoPixels were their thing. You know, I did Tricrease, and I used normal LEDs, which I don't know if I have a bunch of normal LEDs. I don't think I have them near me right now. I'm sitting here looking for them. A lot of my stuff's packed up. But what I used to do is I used to shave off like half of a blue LED and half of a white LED or red or whatever the color of my saber was, and I would put them together, and then I would be able to even demonstrate flash on clash in the crystal chamber using using a blue LED and a white LED glued together. And so I was pretty used to, on in-hilt sabers, knowing how to wire the crystal chambers so that you could see effects in the crystal chamber as well. And then I would wire the crystal chamber in parallel with the main blade. But yeah, I'll try Vet 263's crystal chambers and see if I can get a smoother pulse on the NeoPixels. But I was never really it'll do a on off, on off, on off. I know NeoPixels can do that fine, but if you like to extend the timing of your pulse to, like, I don't know, I think I'm running my pulses at around 4,000 or 5,000 milliseconds. When you draw out a pulse that long on a NeoPixel, it's not smooth, Fernando. Have you tried running them at a longer pulse, Fernando? Because they don't like that. I'll try it. You know what I may do for next Monday is I'll wire up my Profi benchboard, the one that I built my blaster on, and I'll load up some of Fernando's crystal chamber blade styles on it, and I'll do his on 2,000 milliseconds. It's probably okay, Fernando, but you start getting over 2,000, you start seeing that timing clickiness in the NeoPixels. And like I said, my fades are around 4,000 to 6,000 milliseconds to kind of make that crystal sit there and breathe when the saber's in idle. And that's why I don't use NeoPixels in my crystal chamber. But I'll check your I'll try that, Fernando. So what I'll do is, if I can remember, I'll try and set up my Profi board to run that next week, and I'll do a comparison. Hey, True 1777, I'll try to do a comparison between a NeoPixel and also the common anode RGB LED, so you guys can get a chance. And Jennaru's on the way home. Good to see you, Jennaru. You guys shouldn't be watching me while you're driving. Be safe. But at any rate, I'll try to do that for the live video next week, because I can hook up both NeoPixel and common anode RGB LED onto a Profi, quick and dirty, and create a config file that pulses both of them so you can see them side by side, and you can kind of see what I'm talking about with the clickiness of the timing. but I'll try some of your styles, Fernando. But I'd kind of gone away from NeoPixels to illuminate crystal chambers. Although, with that ESB saber, that was kind of depressing when that ESB saber didn't work tonight. That means I have to tear the whole thing apart and replace that LED or fix the red wire that came off it. I'm assuming the red wire is broken or something on that LED, which could have happened when I was sliding at home. Who knows? Kyberphonics in the house. What's up, Jesse? Yeah, I'll give it a shot, Fernando. If I can get NeoPixels to work on a 4,000 to 6,000 millisecond pulse, I would rather use NeoPixels. NeoPixels take less space. They're more dependable. I don't have to put resistors on them. These common anode RGB LEDs that I'm wearing to light these crystal chambers, and they actually take 3 FETs on the Profi because you're wiring red to LED 4, green to LED 5, and blue to LED 6. So you're losing 3 of your MOSFETs just to drive the crystal chamber with NeoPixel-like effects. So basically what I do on these sabers is, Jennaru said, hey, Max. Jennaru, you should not be chatting while you're driving. Watching YouTube, chatting on YouTube, driving on a dangerous highway. Maybe Elle is driving. Hey, Jennaru, tell them how I got that. Jen witnessed it. It was funny. I was bleeding all over the place. Jen's like, you're a bunch of blood running down your face. Yeah, I watched your video, Melissa, about when you had the surgery when you were a kid. And I know you can see some out of one of your eyes and can't see much. Oh, Ella's the one responding on YouTube. She's logged in as Jen. She's using Jen's phone. That's good to see you too, Daniel. And happy to see everybody. And, this is the, these two sabers, of course, now I got to repair one of them, but these 2 sabers are the last sabers that I'll build in this old house. So there's a little bit of history going in these sabers. I don't even use those. What I just use is I cut off a piece. I have so much NeoPixel strip laying around that, I'll just cut off a single pixel off a strip and wire it. I don't buy those things off Amazon. You guys, y'all don't know, I've probably built a couple hundred NeoPixel blades and blade plugs. So I have a bunch of scrap NeoPixels laying around. So, yeah. Dog jumped up and caught his lip. Jennaru just told the truth. But yeah, it was all bleeding all over the place. Oh, I liked your video, Melissa. I liked it. I saw your video that you posted today. And, I watched that. And, I understand your fear about COVID and going out and, you're worried you could get sick. And, for Melissa to get around, she has to touch the walls. And, she's worried about touching the walls because of COVID. I think she called it trailing, how she has to get around by holding onto the walls and using her cane. And, it's tough. COVID's kind of, turned the whole world upside down here. And I, for one, will be glad when COVID's gone. Trailing. Yep. And you use a white cane. Yep. No, I didn't have to repaint this room. I only have to, I got to paint the living room just out here, and I have to paint the outside of the house. But I got to get both these sabers gone, and then I will focus on getting this house done. So my mortgage and closing and everything else is approved, and it's not contingent upon the sale of this house, which is awesome. So I'll be out of here pretty soon. Awesome, Dominic. I'm glad you got the Profi program running. For anybody that missed it, Space Windu did a video the other night with Fernando on it on Sunday night. And, Space Windu and Jedi Arms Dealer both went through, and, Fernando helped walk both them through using his blade styles. And it was a lot of fun watching those guys be able to implement Fernando's blade styles fairly instantaneously. I mean, it was a long video because they were talking a lot, but the bottom line is they were able to instantly put Fernando's blade styles on their lightsabers and look at it. And watching the excitement of them on, I saw your Braille feature too. I've seen all your videos, Melissa, but it was exciting. Oh, I know. It's stressful, Cole. And, we already had to move Jennaru. And, the last 3 weeks have been crazy because we basically put all of Jen's stuff in storage. I've been thinning out my house, so there's pretty much going to be nothing to move out of my house except for my lightsaber stuff in here, my tools in the garage, and my clothes, and that's about it. A lot of the furniture will stay here when we stage the house for sale. But yeah, COVID is depressing, and I sure hope it gets wiped out soon. I mean, COVID's affected the lightsaber world too. It's a lot harder to get parts than it used to be. NeoPixel strips. I mean, I got 4 strips that I ordered, and they were supposed to be here in December, and I just got them in June, and that kind of set me back. So that's why when people are like, build this, build that, that's another reason I'm like, because it's so hard to source stuff right now. But COVID's really impacted all of us. But if COVID did anything, it's kind of given me time to relax and get ready for this move. And, finish up some of these other projects. I do have a bunch of projects to do. I'm sitting here looking at them. I have KROR Crossguard to do. I have 501st Legion's Obi-Wan Saber that I've got to do. I've got an LS6. I've got the light. The 2 sabers from Finland, and a Yoda saber for my Hong Kong guy. And I got to fix 2 CFX sabers that are, they were Vader's Vault sabers, and they were installed, but they're a mess. So I'll be fixing them. Oh, but Haken's on. Yeah, it was really cool. I mean, I wasn't able to watch the whole video from Space Windu, and I intend on going back and watching it. But Space Windu's pretty much been more of a Plector Labs, Crystal Shard, also CFX LS or Crystal Focus LS, CFLS guy, and hadn't really messed around with Profi, and I understand. I mean, Profi's complicated, for guys that are used to installing Plector boards. So it was kind of cool watching them have the epiphany about the capabilities of Profi on the live stream with Fernando helping them along. It was pretty awesome. It was a cool video. I know Space and his gang have been kind of intimidated by Profi because it's different. But I think once you learn how to do Profi and once you understand it, it's awesome. It's really, really awesome. And, with Fernando's blade style library, it makes it pretty easy. There's no coding you have to write. There's no coding at all. Yeah, Scarecrow's going to do a good job on your saber, Melissa. I think it's going to be proud. Yeah, I mean, Jesse Kirkbride's fonts, and I know I always talk a lot about Kyberphonic and K-Sith when I'm talking about lightsaber fonts for Profi, but there's a lot of other guys out there doing Profi fonts. Juan Sith, even though he was a little bit late to the game, You know, Juan Sith is involved in it now. You have Fonts by Force. He does some awesome stuff. The Proplicator. They're all doing Profi fonts. Um, it's really awesome. Yeah, I mean, Profi, once you figure it out and once you realize, hey, this isn't that bad, and you plug your Profi in your computer and you upload your config, which is easy to write a config, you're golden, you know, and then write your SD card, and you're in business. It's different. It's it seems complicated at first, and it's a bunch of computer gobbledygook. And you know, I'm not a big Repulse. That's the one I forgot. Which Repulse used to be. He used to have another name that I knew him by. Um, I can't remember his other name, but Repulse does good fonts. There are tons of really good open source and smooth swing font makers out there now. And the cool thing about Profi is even if you have a font maker like MadCow, you know, MadCow will only make fonts for Plector boards. Well, never fear. If you have a Plector font that you want that MadCow's done and it's designed for Plector boards, yeah, Link, that's it, Max. But if you have a Plector font that you like say like MadCow's he's done a bunch of smooth swing fonts, and you really like those fonts, all you have to do is put them on your Profi, and Profi will run them. That's thanks to Matt McGurry, SA2CC, who he did the Plector naming fonts in the latest OS 4.7. So you don't even have to rename your font names. You can just plug in a Plector font and it'll run it. Yep, Dark Meat. Any of those stock Plector fonts, they run on Profi just fine. Shouldn't have to do anything to them. Oh yeah, you did the Prestel valve second switch. Now, Bahaken, are you actually using the Prestel valve to house the auxiliary switch? Because I know you have the red button on that hilt, but you know, then you can use the jewel on the Prestel valve to activate a switch that's hidden in the Prestel valve to be an auxiliary switch. Is that what you're doing? I know it can be stressful, you know, when you're drilling a hilt that you just bought and you're tapping it for something, you're like, man, if this doesn't work, I'm hosed. Oh, I know, Chris, that's exactly right. You know, when I first, the funny thing is, and I talked about this a little bit, but I'll whip one out because we always end up talking about it. But, you know, back in 2017, when I was building my Kylo sabers, this was the challenge. And this is a teensy saber, and it's a dual layer board. It's actually two boards that are soldered together. So you had that challenge of trying to, you know, solder these two boards together, and how do I solder them, and what order do I have to solder them in, and these pins that you use, and it was complicated. And then not only did you have to build the boards, you had to solder on the fets onto the bottom of the teensy saber, and the fets are like these small little things to run your quillions. But the end result was, if you could pull that off and figure out how to program this in Arduino, you could do a Fireblade. And nothing else was running a Fireblade on NeoPixels except for Teensy Saber. And that's the whole reason that I learned Teensy Saber, was to get that Fireblade on my Kylo sabers. And, you know, once I learned Arduino, of course, when Profi came out, Profi was easy because I was already doing Teensy Sabers and I understood the config files. Oh yeah, that's my TRA 2019 fundraiser sweatshirt, and I get the ultra soft material. It's awesome. You gotta love these things. They're my favorite. So thank you, Melissa. I love these things. But then, you know, guys like Fernando and Matt McGreary got into this hobby, and whew, both of them, you know, have been a godsend. Dimitri Stock was involved all along, and you know, Dimitri's a genius. You know, a lot of Dimitri's inventions and and visions about where to take all this have been a big help too. Yeah, Melissa, there's nothing wrong with the with the soundboard that's going in your saber. You're getting a come on everybody, I can never remember it. You have Plectrolab, CFX, Profi, Verso, and what's the other one, Max? Golden Harvest. That's what's going in Jedi Melissa's saber is Golden Harvest. Thank you, Enoch Root. You're the man. I don't know what it is, but I always have an Alzheimer's moment about Golden Harvest. What the hell is wrong with me that I can't remember Golden Harvest? I don't know. Having an Alzheimer's moment. But yeah, Melissa's saber's getting Golden Harvest in it. Yeah, Cole, you're 100% right. Fernando, he needs more than an ABBA song to celebrate him. If y'all are using Fernando's blade styles, y'all know he has that pop-up and a donation button. And you know that Fernando running that website cannot be free. And all the work that Fernando's done with that, make a donation to Fernando so he can. Hi, Generu's home. And also, Ella, Risky just saw Ella and freaked out. His tail's wagging. Can you hear it? But yeah, be very careful because all this stuff will fall off. But yeah, the boards are great. Any saber I sell is getting a donation of Fernando and Megtooth built into the cost. No need to donate anything to me, guys. I actually get more enjoyment watching more people build their own sabers and saying that they got something from some of my videos or some of these videos. To me, that means more than anything else. Yeah, that TriStar blade is awesome. I'm gonna have to try that. I am gonna try something that Space recommended. Stand by. Let me grab them so you guys can see them. So, most of the NeoPixel lightsabers that I build have been, trans white or clear with the tube. But I am going to build a photon NeoPixel blade and an enhanced red NeoPixel blade, and that's inspired by Space Windu. Now, I don't have any use for these, and I'll probably sell them once I'm done with them. I just want to build them for the experience. Yeah, Space, you know what those are, right? The only bad thing about the enhanced red is it comes with the mirrored tip, so I'm going to have to, take that mirrored tip off and drill it out. But the photon blade, that reminds me, I need to go on TCSS and tell them they need to do a enhanced red blade. But the photon blade's already hollow, so the blade tip's already hollow. But those will be coming. Once I move, I'll build those blades, the enhanced red and the photon, and I'll test them and play with them and see how I like them and compare them to other blades I built. But odds are I'm probably gonna build those just to sell them. I'm not interested in a blade that only does a color or filters out other colors. That's why I like trans white and clear. I want my NeoPixel blades to be able to do multiple colors. What do y'all think about that? Well, I'm glad, Chris. I'm glad your saber turned out awesome. Oh, is the red that good, Space, in person? Well, we'll see. If I like the 1-inch red, I'll keep it for my Kylo saber. But the photon blade, I'm Megtooth Sith. I don't do blue blades and green blades. I build them. I don't run them. All my sabers are red. So, you know, the photon green blade, I'm kind of like, maybe the enhanced red would be worth it. You know, the funny thing is, Melissa commented on the TRA. You know, she had a bad experience, I guess, on Facebook when she was first trying to get some help in building her saber, and I guess people were not nice to her, and you know, were like, nobody's gonna build you a saber, you know, whatever. They were just mean to her. And so Melissa posted, she goes, well, when I first posted about wanting this lightsaber on Facebook, there were a lot of Sith, and they were not very nice. And Melissa posted that on TRA, and I said, well, not all Sith are bad. I mean, I built her blade. Jennaru's home. So, you know, I can't be at this for too much longer. How many minutes are we at here, y'all? 46 minutes.
Do your thing.
Jen says to do my thing. Yeah, you know, Space Windu, it's funny that you mentioned that because I am building the Nerfworks Labs. Oh, let me show you all that because some of y'all may not have seen it. Oh, look out, Risky, you're in the way. I'm building the Nerfworks Labs Darksaber. So there she blows. There's the Nerfworks Lab Darksaber. And the blade is shipping, and I'm supposed to get the blade, I would imagine, this week. In fact, I think they tried to deliver it today, but I wasn't home. But that's the Nerfworks Lab Darksaber. Now, of course, y'all know the Darksaber is, oh yeah, that thing is sweetness. It's sweet. And I'm building two of those. Yeah, it's a cool saber space. It's definitely a cool hilt. I mean, they were expensive, but you know, you're gonna pay the price for Solo's whole Darksaber. But in my opinion, I think they pulled it off. And the blade, I am gonna be running RGB CW, which is RGB Cool White NeoPixels, and you can only get those in 50/50 strips. WS 2812 50/50s. So I do have my RGB CW strips already here, and the reason I did that, Space, so if you're going to run white on RGB strips, number one, it never really comes out white. It's always like tinged pink or tinged blue. It's never really a perfect white. But oh yeah, but if you run the third, you know, the fourth color diode, yep, I got my blade coming. Yeah, Fernando, I think one of the first things I'm going to do is I may install that blade before I move, just on my test board to light it up so people can see it. But I'm not going to get these sabers installed until after I move, but I may want to install that blade just so people can see it. But yeah, it's going to be awesome to light up that thing on I don't even know if my test board can do that. I don't think my Prism will run RGBW, so I may have to hook up Profi and do a W config on Profi. Oh yeah, you know, that Darksaber is awesome, and the blade looks spectacular. You know, Obi Shane installed one of the blades, and there's some video on the TRA of the blade up and running, and I was like, wow. But the reason I went with RGBCW, Space, is if you're going to run that saber with a white blade, number one, when you combine RGB into white, they never really look white. So the cool white is going to be cool. I know. I remember when all the sabersmiths were like, we can't do a dark saber. A dark saber is impossible. Stop asking. There's no such thing. You can't have darkness and light in the same blade. And, you know, everybody just kept pushing. And, yeah, I know they did, Melissa. So I'm glad the TRA got behind your project. And, you know, I got behind your project too. and you're gonna love it when you get it. I'm excited for you to get your lightsaber. Yeah, I think it took neopixels and you know, the machining of the polycarbonate blades. What's our next steps? Instructional video, blade build, instructional video, invoice, estimated timeline. Bobby, if I can get the blades built tonight, then I can shoot the video maybe tomorrow night and get you an invoice pretty quickly. Of course, the ESB saber is going to be a little bit more in depth now since I have to take it apart, and you know, we'll get there. But the reason I use the RGBW LEDs for the dark saber is if you're going to run a white blade, RGB, combining RGB to get white, you're also on neopixels. If you combine RGB to get a white blade, that's when you're using your maximum amount of amperage and volts out of your battery, and your battery's not going to last long. But if you run RGBW and you're running the white, just the one white diode, then you're going to get longer battery life out of your lightsaber. So I should be able to get about an hour's runtime out of a 18650 battery, which is what this thing is going to house. But there she blows for those of y'all that haven't seen it. And I mean, that thing is a thing of beauty. And I'm going to probably get this powder coated by... It's going to get powder coated. Yeah, Mike, really quick, I haven't answered that yet. I just saw his email. And to me, I think the Darth Vader breathing loop needs to be continuous in the background while he's talking. If you watch the movies, when Darth Vader's talking, his breathing loop is going even when he's talking. So I think we should do the voice should be laid over the breathing loop. That's my feedback. So if you get a chance to respond back to him, that'd be great, because I'm going to be building 2 NeoPixel blades tonight and shipping out 10 Micom rigs. So if you can answer him back, that'd be great. I'm not sure if that's the duck or the polyphonic version of that. I'm not sure. But as long as you make sure you explain to him whatever you have to do to get the voice and the lines to overlay the breathing loop, I think that's what's important there. That way people get rid of their breathing loop stuff, and the Micom will do everything. We're talking about product development. We're talking about super secret stuff, kind of offline here. You get big hints into the future by watching Megtooth Monday Live. But yeah, we're pretty excited about some stuff, and I'm really excited for this move. We're going to move into this new house. I'm going to have a new workshop. I'm going to have a lot more elbow room. I'm going to have a window instead of a corner, and I'll be able to look out at the world as I'm building lightsabers, and I'll be building lightsabers wholesale once we get settled. But I imagine it's going to be September, October before I can get everything settled and all my tools moved into the new workshop and everything worked out. But Bobby, your timeline, you asked, next week, if I get your blade built and the video shot, video edited, video uploaded, I should be able to invoice you next week, and we'll be shipping out the saber next week. My intention is to ship out your saber well before I close. Of course, I do have to crack open this ESB Graflex and fix the crystal chamber LED in it, since it's malfunctioning. But at any rate, we'll get your saber done first. It'll be my priority. Is HexX still running the GoFundMe stuff, Ron? Oh yeah, Melissa, we like your channel. And if anybody hasn't done so, the TRA charity build going on for Melissa's World, she's Jedi Padawan Melissa on TRA. She has a YouTube channel called Melissa's World, and we're building a lightsaber for her. I built a blade for her lightsaber, and her blade is on my channel. and you want to throw some love Melissa's way, go ahead and give her channel a like and watch her videos, because she's really honest and open about her disabilities and the struggles that she has every day. And the more I watch her channel, the more I'm pretty proud to be a member of the TRA and helping to build Melissa's lightsaber. Good Lord, that thing looks awful. Bleeding. All right. Yeah, Max. So everybody can chip in on the GoFundMe site for HexX Son to get the assistance dog. I didn't know it was still up. I thought once the raffle was over on the 4th of July that was done. So that's certainly a worthy cause. So big project for next week. We got to wind down this video. I'm going to try and set up a Profi with a common anode RGB LED and a NeoPixel with pulsing crystal chambers on both, so we can sit there and compare the NeoPixels and the RGB LED side by side. I'll use some of Fernando's blade styles, and then I'll use some of my own with the 4,000 to 6,000 millisecond pulse timing, and we'll do a live comparison and see how that works out. Well, the funny thing, Ron, is I intended on building one of these sabers and donating it to Jeff to raffle off. So, if Golden Harvest starts to run boards, or I can get hold of a Verso, then I'll install one of those Finland sabers and ship that off to Jeff, and he can auction that off as well. I got to find a chassis for those things too, man. The ID on those sabers is tight. The inside diameter on those is just barely enough for an 18650. So the chassis might just be an 18650 sled. And I've done that before, but I'd rather find something a little bit better. Cool, Fernando. That'll be my goal for next week, is to go ahead and set up that Profi, and we can test it live. And, if Fernando can get me to change my mind to throwing NeoPixels on the crystal chamber, then that's a much better option, because that leaves LED 4, 5, and 6 free for me to do other NeoPixel cool stuff with. I hate tying up FETs 4, 5, and 6 on Profi just to drive my crystal chambers, but right now that's really working well, and that still leaves me LED 1 to dance around with accent LED stuff like I do in the aft end of the night chassis on the Graflex. So basically what I do in those Graflexes is LED 1 is the aft crystal chamber accents, the ones in the back of the crystal chamber. LEDs 2 and 3 drive the main blade, and LEDs 4, 5, and 6 drive the crystal chamber, the RGB common anode LED. That's how I've been wiring all of my sabers, including Church's DV6, the stock DV6 that I sold off, and all the Graflexes that I build since my metal crystal chamber Graflex. But, we'll give it a shot. We'll give it a whirl. That gives us a good topic for next Monday. And we have been going, for almost an hour now, 58 minutes and 35 seconds. Birchie didn't check in tonight. He might be at work. And, we're at an hour, so I don't want to run any longer than that. But everybody, don't forget, donate to Jeff Birch for his son to get an assistance dog. Everybody like and subscribe Melissa's World YouTube channel. Let's see if we can push her subscriber level up. And you can kind of see that she was certainly worthy of our current project going on the TRA. But yeah, everyone have a good night, and I'll get that stuff ready to go on the Profi next week, so we can do a test, so to speak, for crystal chambers. If I can simplify my crystal chambers back to NeoPixels, that'd be awesome, because NeoPixels are a fairly inexpensive way to drive your chambers. It would be a lot easier to be able to drive my crystal chambers with all these scrap NeoPixels I have laying around from doing blade builds. So I'm going to build 2 lightsaber blades tonight, 2 7/8" blades. I'm not going to do a TriStar, and I would never do a TriStar anyway, because that's Space Windows thing. But eventually, I'm going to have to do the 3-strip blades. Flora pixels for your chambers. Okay. I'll give it a shot, Space. Available at Adafruit. Well, we're a big customer at Adafruit, so they love us there. Cool. I'll try those, Space. But the bottom line is that we've got a big project for next week, and I was glad that all y'all checked on for tonight. I'm sorry we didn't have any big tips for tonight. I'm sorry we had a lightsaber fail, but that's cool for y'all to see. I ain't perfect. I have problems too. I'll have to go back and fix that saber tonight, and we'll get it fixed. Nobody's perfect, not even me. And I make mistakes or had a flaw in my design or a flaw in my wiring, and I have to go and find out what it is and fix it. There ain't no way I'm sending out a saber that ain't working right. So that saber will be working proper when I send it out, and it won't be sent out until it's fixed. And hopefully I'll be able to show that saber again next week working proper, with a proper crystal chamber illuminated the right way. But thank y'all for tuning in. Cole was probably working out while we're on live stream here, but it's good to see you, Cole. Good to see everybody. Mike, glad you tuned in. Glad everybody tuned in, and I'm so glad to see all your progress on everyone's sabers that you're building. It's exciting for me to see y'all building your own sabers. Brings more joy to me than when I build mine. Slap the button on the way out, everyone. Yeah, as you're leaving, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, go ahead and subscribe. Hit that like, hit that notification bell, and every time I go live, you'll get notified instantly, and that way you don't have to stalk my Facebook channel for these. But at any rate, thank you everybody for watching. I'm going to cut this one out. May the force be with you, or the dark side as it were. You guys have a good night, and let's get rid of COVID.